Hi friends, today we will discuss in detail about cyanosis. In this lecture, we will first see the intro, what is the mechanism of cyanosis, what are its type, causes, how to approach a patient, and finally there will be a question for all of you. You can download the MediLectures app which is available on Play Store as well as iOS to download the PDF of this lecture, attempt free test and various quizzes. You can also check out Harrison based test series course on the app. So starting with the lecture, cyanosis refers to bluish discoloration of skin and mucous membrane resulting from either increased quantity of reduced hemoglobin or presence of abnormal hemoglobin derivatives like methemoglobin or sulfhemoglobin. Now cyanosis is usually most marked in the lips, nail beds, ear and malar eminences. It is important to note that cyanosis should be differentiated from polycythemia vera and carboxyhemoglobin. Now, polycythemia vera is characterized by florid skin color, which is due to increased amount of hemoglobin, whereas carboxyhemoglobin has cherry red skin color. So, these should be differentiated from cyanosis. The degree of cyanosis depends on color of the cutaneous pigment of the patient, thickness of the skin, and state of cutaneous capillaries. For example, in some patients, cyanosis can be detected when arterial oxygen saturation falls to 85%. On the other hand, in dark skinned person, it may not be detected until it declines to less than 75%. Therefore, examination of mucous membrane of oral cavity and conjunctiva is more important rather than the examination of skin. In general, cyanosis becomes apparent when the reduced hemoglobin in capillary blood is more than 4 gram per deciliter. Now coming on to the mechanisms, as we have discussed, the two main mechanisms of cyanosis are increased quantity of reduced hemoglobin in mucocutaneous vessels or presence of a abnormal non-functional hemoglobin. Now, increased quantity of reduced hemoglobin can either occur due to increase in quantity of venous blood as a result of dilatation of venules or decrease in arterial oxygen saturation in the capillary blood. It is very important to note that absolute rather than the relative quantity of reduced hemoglobin should be increased. For example, when we take a patient of anemia, the relative quantity of reduced hemoglobin in venous blood may be very large since the tissues are extracting limited amount of oxygen from hemoglobin very vigorously. But when we see the total quantity of hemoglobin, this would not be possible since the total hemoglobin in an anemic patient is limited, which cannot be reduced to a higher quantity. So we can say that higher is the total hemoglobin content, greater is the tendency to develop cyanosis. Thus, a patient with polycythemia tend to be cyanotic at a higher level of arterial oxygen saturation. So if we take an example of an anemic patient with hemoglobin 6 gram per deciliter and a polycythemic patient with hemoglobin 18 gram per deciliter. Now, to be considered as cyanotic, this patient of anemia should have at least more than 4 gram per deciliter of reduced hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin which is actually carrying oxygen is only less than 2 gram. So this is an impossible entity. This is fairly impossible. But a polycythemic patient can very well manage if the reduced hemoglobin is more than 4 gram since the oxygenated hemoglobin is still up to 14 grams. So higher the total hemoglobin content, greater is the tendency to develop the cyanosis. Therefore, anemic patients rarely develop cyanosis while cyanosis is very common in polycythemia. Now, local passive congestion can also lead to cyanosis, which causes increased total quantity of reduced hemoglobin in a given area and leads to cyanosis. Now coming on to the abnormal non-functioning hemoglobins, these include methemoglobin and sulfhemoglobin. Methemoglobinemia can be congenital as well as acquired. On the other hand, self-hemoglobinemia is always acquired. Now, considering the types, cyanosis can be divided into two types, that is central and peripheral. When we discuss the mechanism, the central cyanosis occurs either due to decreased arterial oxygen saturation or a presence of abnormal hemoglobin. On the other hand, peripheral is due to slowing of blood flow and abnormally great extraction of oxygen from naturally saturated arterial blood. It usually occurs due to vasoconstriction and diminished peripheral blood flow. The cyanosis is visible in mucous membrane of oral cavity and conjunctiva along with skin in central, but in peripheral it is visible only on the skin surface. Now coming on to the causes of cyanosis, first we will discuss the causes of central cyanosis. So these can be due to either decreased arterial oxygen saturation or a presence of abnormal hemoglobin. So in decreased arterial oxygen saturation, there can be decreased atmospheric pressure at high altitude where the FiO2 is low. Therefore, arterial oxygen saturation will automatically decline. There can also be impaired pulmonary function in the form of either alveolar hypoventilation, ventilation perfusion mismatch, or impaired oxygen diffusion. Alveolar hypoventilation can be acute in cases of pneumonia, pulmonary edema, etc., or chronic in cases of COPD like emphysema. Now, these both conditions can be differentiated on the basis of clubbing and secondary polycythemia, which will be present in COPD, that is a chronic state, and will be absent in acute conditions. There can be inhomogeneity in pulmonary ventilation and perfusion, that is perfusion of hypoventilated alveoli will occur. This is known as ventilation perfusion mismatch. And finally, there can be impaired oxygen diffusion across the alveolar barrier. Anatomic shunts can also lead to central cyanosis, which can be seen in certain types of congenital heart disease, pulmonary AV fistulas, and multiple small intrapulmonary shunts. Now, these AV fistulas can either be congenital or acquired, can be either solitary or multiple, and can be microscopic or massive. So, the degree of cyanosis will depend on the size of the pulmonary AV fistulas. Now, small quantities of methemoglobin and even smaller quantities of self-hemoglobin can impair the oxygen delivery to tissues. And although these are a rare cause of cyanosis, but in unexplained cyanosis cases, spectroscopic examination of blood should be done to rule out these abnormal type of hemoglobins. Now coming on to the causes of peripheral cyanosis, these occurs because of decreased blood supply to the cutaneous circulation. Now this can occur because of reduced cardiac output leading to redistribution of blood to vital organs, cold exposure as in Raynaud's phenomena, redistribution of blood from the extremities, arterial obstruction or venous obstruction in the form of thrombophlebitis or deep vein thrombosis. So all of these conditions will lead to decreased blood supply in cutaneous circulation, which can present with pallor, coldness and associated cyanosis. So we have two photographs in which first one is showing bluish discoloration of tongue and lips, which is present in central cyanosis. Also in central cyanosis, there can be peripheral bluish discoloration of skin. On the other hand, this is the bluish discoloration of the fingers, which can be present in both central as well as peripheral cyanosis. Now a very important concept, if this patient is coming to you with bluish discoloration of these fingers, can we differentiate this whether it is central or peripheral? Yes, we will massage the fingers of this patient. If the bluish discoloration is still present, then it will be central, and after massaging the bluish discoloration goes away, this will be peripheral cyanosis. Now finally coming on to the most important slide, that is approach to a patient of cyanosis. So certain features are important in assessing the cause of cyanosis. The first is time of onset. Now if the cyanosis is present since birth or infancy, this is usually due to congenital heart diseases. Congenital heart diseases. Now, second point is whether the cyanosis is central versus peripheral. Central means it is present on skin as well as mucous membrane, and peripheral which is present only on the skin. So we have already discussed how to differentiate this. If the after massaging the skin, the bluish discoloration goes away, then it is peripheral, otherwise central. Thirdly, whether the cyanosis is associated with clubbing. If it is associated with clubbing, then we can think of the following causes like congenital heart disease, right to left shunt, or some chronic pulmonary disorders like COPD with or intrapulmonary abscess. Now this clubbing will be absent in acute cases of cyanosis like pneumonia and pulmonary edema. And finally, we will determine the PaO2 and arterial oxygen saturation, and if the patient with cyanosis, the mechanism is obscure, then we will go for spectroscopy of blood to identify the abnormal types of hemoglobin. So this was all about cyanosis. And finally a question, which type of cyanosis is seen congestive heart failure with pulmonary edema? Either it is central, peripheral, mixed, or no cyanosis. So the answer to this question is mixed cyanosis. Since congestive heart failure will lead to redistribution of blood to the vital organs, there will be peripheral cyanosis. And since the patient is also developing pulmonary edema, there will be decreased arterial oxygen saturation of blood. Therefore, this will also lead to central cyanosis. So this is a condition which will lead to both peripheral as well as central cyanosis. Thank you so much guys. Kindly share and subscribe the channel and like the video if you found it helpful.